While scientists have uncovered many of the world's greatest mysteries, there are still some places out there that baffle them. Phenomena that seem to occur by magic, areas that are linked to mythical creatures, and sacred holy lands all make up some of the strangest places in the world. But the only question you should be asking yourself about these places is how fast you can book your plane ticket to go see them. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe to The Richest for more mind-blowing content. Now, let's take a look at the 10 strangest places on Earth scientists are still trying to understand. While many of us love the ocean, it's so vast and so mysterious that we still don't know everything there is to know about it. We especially don't know a lot about the ocean floor. As the oceanographer who rediscovered the Titanic, Robert Ballard, said, with only a small percentage of the ocean floor mapped, our knowledge of what's beneath is about as detailed as a set dinner table with a wet blanket thrown over it. You can see the outlines, but how do you tell the candelabra from the turkey? But in 2017, experts from around the world joined forces to launch Seabed 2030, a project that will hopefully have the entire seafloor mapped by 2030. Why is this so important? While the ocean floor might seem insignificant to our life on land, its shape actually affects climate and weather patterns, tides, tsunami wave propagation, and more. According to the Seabed 2030 website, seabed mapping is vital for the security, safety, and economic health of nation-states. While we still have a long way to go, only about 15% of the Earth's ocean is definitively mapped. It seems that Seabed 2030 is working hard to make the ocean less of a mystery to scientists everywhere. Then there's the Osengate Mountain of the Peruvian Andes, also known as the Rainbow Mountains. This natural formation is striped with all kinds of different colors, making it seem like something from out of a fantasy novel. While tourists like to visit it to take enviable pics to use as bragging rights, it is a holy place in Peru, and locals believe it to be the deity of Cusco. Some people even visit the site daily to worship it and give it their offerings. What scientists do know is that the different colors come from different environmental conditions and mineralogy from when the sediment was originally deposited. Traces of iron oxide will cause a red coloring, while chlorite can color sediments in different shades of green. So if you ever visit this magnificent place, you're actually seeing millions of years of history in rock formation. But what experts haven't yet figured out is how to allow tourists to experience the beautiful area without causing erosion damage to it. In 1911, an expedition to Antarctica led to the discovery of an unusual glacier that gushes blood-red water. Aptly named Blood Falls, this natural wonder has mystified experts for decades. Scientists used to believe that the discoloration was due to algae in the water, but they never had any concrete proof to back that claim up. In 2015, more than a century after the glacier was first found, experts theorized that underground waterways full of briny water were coming up through the ice. This would also explain how the water flows continuously in sub-zero temperatures, since brine can remain liquid in this sort of environment. Just 2 years later, a study published in the Journal of Glaciology proved this theory to be right. Using radio echo sounding, researchers were able to track a path of briny water beneath the ice. It is believed that this water may have been a salty lake that's been covered by the glacier for thousands of years. Since the brine lake is high in iron, a reaction happens as the water comes into contact with the air, giving it its reddish tint. While the mystery of the red has been solved, we still don't know why there aren't more glaciers like this out there. Looking at this next strange place on Earth, you might be thinking to yourself that this is the work of a very talented sculptor, but surprisingly, this rock formation that looks to be split in half with laser-like precision is all natural. Located in Saudi Arabia, the Al-Nazla rock is also significant thanks to the image of what looks to be a horse or a camel that's etched into it. While the lower part of the formation resembles a ventifact, which is a geological formation caused by wind-blown sand hitting against a rock surface, experts aren't entirely convinced because its overall shape is too angular and blocky. However, it's quite possible that it's a ventifact that's still in the process of being formed. Some geologists think that the split in the middle of the formation might be the result of an old fault line that weakened the rock and caused erosion. For those of you who are more into conspiracy theories, it's even been proposed that the split was caused by a laser owned by ancient advanced civilization. Another natural phenomenon that's mesmerizing people is located across the world from the Al-Nazla rock, in British Columbia. During the winter and spring, this Canadian lake looks like any other lake in the country. But in the summertime, hundreds of briny pools are left behind as most of the water evaporates. This leaves a strange pattern of green, yellow, and blue dots all over the lake bed. thus how it got its name of the Spotted Lake. The reason why the colors vary so much is due to the concentrated mineral makeup of each individual pool of water. To the indigenous people in that area, the lake is a sacred site that they call Kliluk. They believe that every single spot of water has its own unique healing and medicinal properties. According to the Okanagan tribal chiefs, there are 365 spots that appear in the summer, one spot for each day of the year. This lake is one of the most mineral-rich bodies of water in the world, and seeing it in person is almost as surreal an experience. Located in Africa's Namib Desert, these circles are outlined by patches of vegetation but are barren on the inside. The local legend says that they're actually footprints that were left behind by gods walking on Earth. They range from 10 to 65 feet in diameter. Another folklore story is that an underground dragon poisoned the land with its breath, leaving behind these patches. But scientists have other theories in mind for the fairy circles, which span an area of over 1,000 miles. Some hypothesize that sand termites have been creating the bare patches by killing off the vegetation. The work of the termites would allow for the water to easily accumulate under the patches, which would allow the remaining vegetation ring to continue to grow in such arid conditions. While it sounds plausible, this theory isn't yet widely accepted by all experts. Another theory is that these circles were formed due to a natural competition between the desert vegetation for moisture and soil nutrients. More than a mile inland of Lake Superior in Minnesota, there's a waterfall that seemingly goes nowhere. The Brule River splits into two at one point, with the east side of the river falling down in typical waterfall fashion, and the west side plunging down into a cavernous hole. The latter is known as the Devil's Kettle, and experts have been trying for decades to figure out where all that flowing water goes. Branches, ping pong balls, and other objects that have been thrown into the chute have simply vanished, never to be seen again. While some speculated that the Devil's Kettle waterfall followed some secret underground path leading to Lake Superior, geologists weren't convinced. After comparing the amount of water flowing above Devil's Kettle and the amount of water flowing below it, hydrologists discovered that there isn't a loss of water between the two locations. This meant that there was no hidden channel leading to the lake. The water going down the hole was just resurfacing in the river downstream. A dye trace was supposed to be conducted in 2017 to see exactly where the water resurfaced, but this never happened. Perhaps the most controversial phenomenon in this video is that of the Naga fireballs. Every October and May, glowing orbs ascend from out of the Mekong River at night, as if by magic. According to legend, these flaming balls are the breath of Naga, a river serpent from Buddhist mythology, kind of like Thailand's very own Nessie. According to scientists, the fireballs might be methane gas spontaneously igniting on its way out of the river. There are others who believe that they are produced by combustible phosphine gas. Then there are the scientists who believe that the fireballs are actually free-floating plasma orbs caused by surface electricity being released into a solution. But according to conspiracy theorists, the Naga fireballs might be nothing more than a human-made hoax that's been recreated year after year by ambitious pyrotechnics. Nobody really knows for sure how the fireballs keep resurfacing every year, but there's a whole festival dedicated to their occurrence. If they really are just a man-made hoax, it's definitely a great way to drive tourists and money to the area. And if they are naturally occurring, we still have a ways to go when it comes to figuring out what's really going on here. According to NASA, strange holes are appearing in the Arctic ice, and they don't know what's causing them. The Arctic is already a strange place on its own, but these crater-like holes in the ice have been throwing scientists for a loop. According to the scientist who photographed the phenomenon, he's never seen anything like them in his life. While some believe them to have something to do with the rapidly warming Arctic region, others think that they may have been caused by a fragmented meteor strike. Then there's a theory that they were caused by either seals breaking through the ice for breathing holes or by warm water upwelling. However, since the holes are much bigger than the type of holes that seals make, they might even be caused by bowhead whales breaking the ice for breathing holes. As these craters were just discovered in 2018, it might still take a little while before we know the truth behind them. While you may think that we know everything there is to know about the pyramids of Giza, they seem to be constantly surprising us. In 2015, Egypt's Antiquities Ministry announced that thermal anomalies had been found in the Great Pyramid. While using thermal cameras, 3 stones at the bottom of the pyramid showed higher temperatures than the rest. According to the ministry's statement, these anomalies could be caused by empty areas inside the pyramid, internal air currents, or different building materials. There's even a difference in the formation when you compare those 3 stones to the uniformity of the rest of the structure. Other thermal anomalies were also reportedly detected in the upper part of the Great Pyramid as well. This discovery was brought to light as experts looked to find hidden chambers within the structure. That's all for the 10 strangest places on Earth scientists are still trying to understand. Have you ever visited any of the places that we just mentioned? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and hit that thumbs up button before you go.